Just days into the Canadian election campaign, we have the media in absolute spin mode going after Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives with unsubstantiated stories. I have a Globe and Mail article here from March 25th. The headline is, CSIS alleges India organized support for Poilievre's 2022 Conservative leadership bid. That sounds pretty bad, but let's get into the article and see if it's actually as bad as that headline would lead you to believe. Agents of India and their proxies allegedly meddled in the 2022 election of Pierre Poilievre as Conservative Party leader as part of a larger effort to cozy up to politicians of all parties, according to a source with top secret clearance. The source. Now remember, when you say a source said, it could be anybody. It could be nobody. We don't know. It's a source. The source said the Canadian Security Intelligence Service learned that Indian agents were involved in raising money and organizing within the South Asian community for Mr. Poilievre during the leadership race, which he won handily. But the CSIS assessment did not indicate that this effort was done in a sweeping and highly organized way, the source said. The source. Mr. Poilievre won on the first ballot with 68% of the vote. CSIS also did not have evidence that Mr. Poilievre or members of his inner circle were aware of the alleged actions of India's agents and their proxies, said the source, who has national security clearance to see top secret reports. The Globe and Mail is not identifying the source because they are not authorized to disclose classified information publicly. So basically, this story is an absolute nothing burger. We have an unnamed individual saying that people acting on behalf of India may have had something to do with raising money for Poilievre's campaign, but that it didn't really amount to much. They admitted that he won the first ballot with 68% of the vote. That was against 5 other candidates, by the way. So, I mean, you had to split the other 32% of the vote with 5 other people. I don't think anything they would have done would have affected the outcome of this party leadership race. So, yeah, basically this is a nothing burger, but that's a scary headline. Let me read that headline again. CSIS alleges India organized support for Poilievre's 2022 Conservative leadership bid. And the media and the people behind this type of nonsense know that most people don't get much past the headline on news articles like this. Yesterday I saw a CTV news segment on this issue as well, and immediately I thought that it was incredibly biased, even though I think they were trying to come off as fair and balanced. So let's see what they have to say.
The Conservative leader was ready to talk about affordable homes, but questions persist about Pierre Poilievre having his own house in order when it comes to foreign interference. CTV News has confirmed that India attempted to interfere in the 2022 Conservative leadership contest, which Poilievre won. There's no indication the meddling affected the outcome of the race.
So CTV confirmed that there was meddling with who? This unnamed source? Is this source going around talking to all of the media? Maybe CSIS should figure out who this source is that's leaking information to the media. Also, they just admitted that it didn't affect the outcome of the race. So why is this even a news story? This happened in 2022. It's 2025 now, guys.
I won the leadership fair and square.
CSIS didn't share the information with Poilievre because he refused to get the necessary security clearances to receive classified briefings on foreign interference in Canada, something his opponents seized on.
I find it downright irresponsible that the leader of the opposition, day after day, month after month, year after year, refuses to obtain his security clearance.
That, to me, disqualifies you as a prime minister candidate. It's not someone that we can trust to stand up to foreign interference.
So now they're tying in foreign interference to Pierre Poilievre not getting his security clearance. And they have Carney and they have Singh giving their opinion. What does Carney and Singh's opinion add to this story? Of course they're going to talk bad about Pierre Poilievre. They're running against him.
Poilievre defended his decision to not take briefings, saying it would hamper his abilities to hold the government to account.
So they'll bring me into a dark room and they'll say, we're going to give you a little bit of breadcrumbs of intel, and then we'll tell you you can't talk about any of this stuff anymore.
However,
you'll also notice that they let Poilievre talk for about 5 seconds before they cut back to the news anchor. So if this is a fair and balanced story, shouldn't they let him talk a little longer? Now, I found the full clip of that speech, and I've pulled out a larger chunk of that segment, so you can actually hear his side of the argument.
First of all, let's quote from that Globe and Mail article. I'm going to quote here. CSIS also did not have evidence that Mr. Poilievre or members of his inner circle were aware of these alleged actions. Then I'm going to quote the Hogue Commission, and I quote, "The Commission heard testimony about allegations of the government India interference in the Conservative Party leadership race. CSIS witnesses noted that they had no reason to believe the impacted candidates would have been aware of the alleged support." Let's be honest. I won the leadership fair and square. Even my political competitors, like Mr. Patrick Brown, have publicly testified under oath that that was the case.
Former National Security Advisor to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says being briefed on foreign interference would not muzzle Poilievre.
So holding the government to account, you can do without revealing top secret information or secret information. And he should be able to do both of those things.
Notice the credentials of this next person that they had on. She's the security advisor to Trudeau, another person who for sure is not biased against the Conservative, right, guys? You'll also notice that she said it shouldn't hamper his ability. She didn't say that it wouldn't.
Poilievre insists he's already had a security clearance because he was a minister in the Harper government a decade ago.
He is saying should be good enough. It doesn't work that way. Clearances don't last for that long. I think he's past the date for that. So
still, Poilievre won't waver, focusing all of his attacks on Liberal leader Mark Carney at a rally of thousands in Hamilton tonight.
And now a fourth person that comes out disagreeing with Poilievre, this former CSIS director. I don't know exactly whether or not he's biased. Also don't know if this was part of a larger conversation where maybe he also agreed with some of Poilievre's statements or arguments. So that could potentially be just pulled out of context. And you might not agree with me about my assessment on this and that this is all just spin and hyperbole. So I'll end this video with Tom Mulcair saying the same thing that I just did.
I made the same comments to your colleague Todd this afternoon on CTV News Channel. I agree completely with Pierre Poilievre on this. I believe he is completely right. You do not accept to play this mugs game where you restrain your ambit and your ability to act as leader of the official opposition, which is a constitutional role to hold the government to account